Welcome to the Success Blueprint, strategies to build a life and business you love. This is your go-to podcast for success in both life and business. I'm your host, Daniel Craig Johnson, and as a seasoned life and business coach with 15 years of experience, I will be sharing powerful stories, practical tips, and valuable insights on personal development, leadership, entrepreneurship, productivity, motivation, and more. Join me every week for the Success Blueprint, strategies for building a life and business you love. Let's ignite your success. Hello and welcome on the Success Blueprint. It's Daniel. Welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. It was about time to get this over and done with, and it was supposed to happen yesterday, but uncertainty, things that happen in life sometimes force you to do things different. So my episode is coming on one day later, and that's officially actually the launch of my podcast. And on episode 1, we're going to discuss how to cope with uncertainty in a world of constant change. And just like my delay from yesterday to today with the launch of my episode, that's how life goes. We can't always plan and predict, and the only thing we can do is to roll with the punches and actually really make sure that we are prepared for all uncertain things that are coming for us. So let's not waste time and get right into the episode. I'm very happy to have you guys. I'm very excited. I'm nervous at the same time, because when you put yourself out there into the public domain, you never know what is going to come back for you. But if you're passionate about something and you think it has its place out there in the world, then I think you have to just do it. And I do feel that I want to connect to like-minded people, entrepreneurs, business people, and normal people that just want to be better in life or in business and improve. And I will have valuable insight and tips to share throughout the entire journey. There's definitely one thing that I would like to share, and that's very exciting for me. It is really something that I'm looking forward to. And that is that on the 5th of May, we actually are going to put up the next episode. And that episode will be actually an interview with a very, very interesting person. Her name is Joanne Holbrook. She lives currently in Hawaii. Joanne is a mother of 2 children and spouse to a United States Army officer who has lived and raised her family in South Africa, England, Germany, Australia, and across the United States. Born in South Africa and living half of her life under controlling apartheid government, she began to yearn for better understanding of cultures outside her world. This experience, combined with the world travels that come with a military lifestyle and her teaching in performing arts school for the past 25 years, has allowed Joanne to observe culture and parenting from multiple international perspectives and with a broader and world view. She is an author, professional keynote speaker, parenting advocate, and entrepreneur who, through her friendships, book, and speaking events, shares parenting stories to help build positive value-based families around the world. So Joanne will be super interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but if you want to know how to deal with parenting and, as a single mom or a married mom or just a mom out there that is looking for some advice how to live with a family under diverse or adverse circumstances, then that will definitely be a podcast that you don't want to miss. So look out for the teaser that I'm going to put out. And I can't wait to have Joanne Holbrook on the podcast next week, Friday. So let's get into our episode for today. As you all know, uncertainty is something that we all face at some point in our lives, whether it's related to health, finance, relationships, or our future. Very often we feel anxious and stressed when we don't know what's going to happen next. But uncertainty is also a natural and unavoidable part of life. We can't control everything that happens to us, and sometimes we must deal with the unexpected situations and events. And that is something that we are faced with every day. Life is never going to be straightforward. And as much as we try to be more happy, be more balanced, have more positive things in our life. We never know what curveball is going to come tomorrow. And that's why uncertainty can very often be something that makes people feel anxious, stressed, particularly when they don't know what is going to happen next. But uncertainty is also natural and unavoidable. And it is something that is part of our life that we cannot take away. We can't control everything that happens to us. And sometimes we have to deal with unexpected situations and events. The world has become uncertain more than ever. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath, the pandemic has disrupted every aspect of life. Think about it. What has happened over the last 3 years regarding COVID-19 and what has happened in your life, what has happened in everybody's life all around the world. Things have changed, the way we behave, the way we travel, the way we work, the way we go to public events. And although we in post-pandemic times, we kind of have a situation which I like to call like PERMACRISIS that has creeped into our life, where we're literally in a constant state of crisis. And there's always something happening in our life. And that's where the word PERMACRISIS comes from. So that leaves us in a place where we have to be flexible. We have to be more resilient. We have to really dig deep to keep up with the constant change around us and the change for our families, for our kids, for our friends, for work, for business, the way we interact with each other. If we just look how rapidly the world is changing due to technology and environment, we have climate crises. We have weather that is unpredictable and changing all the time. We do have the rise of generative AI and what impact that has on us as humans. Obviously in a positive way, but it comes with its risks. Where does it leave human interaction and the way that we communicate with each other? Are we actually at the end of the day just all talking to a bot on the other side? Have we got remaining human interaction? What does it mean in the next 4 or 5 years in terms of how we're going to communicate with each other? There's so many changes going on at the moment. We have pollution, we have biodiversity, we have demographies that change. There is migration going on. If I just look at how many people that I know out of my immediate circle have emigrated over the last 2 years, looking for better opportunities and better chances for their kids, for their education, or simply just for a better lifestyle, less corruption, less crime. There's so many things that make people move all around the world. And that forces us as humans to consistently evolve and to change and to adapt to the rapidly changing environment around us. And there's people that cope more and there's people that cope less with those adverse circumstances. But many of us are left with stress, anxiety, and a feeling of being overwhelmed and not knowing what to do next. So all of these things are very, very hard on humans, and they really can cause severe problems in one's life and how we perceive our reality around us and how we perceive life and how we actually act towards life and behave towards life. So today is really about that, and how do we cope with it? What can we do? I mean, certainly if we look at uncertainty, it can also have a huge opportunity for learning and growth. Uncertainty stimulates not only curiosity, but also creativity and innovation. It fosters resilience and adaptability and flexibility. Uncertainty helps us appreciate what we have and what we can control versus what we cannot control. And very often it challenges our assumptions and beliefs. And I think particularly in a time where we literally have so much misinformation, incomplete and contested data, it is so important that we develop these skills and that we have a more challenging attitude towards things that we are fed, that we question things more, that we apply critical thinking, Cartesian questioning styles to find out what is actually going on with us, what is going on around us, how do we respond to all this noise and clutter that is happening around us. And we live in a time where we can maybe say that the world will possibly never return to the way it has actually been before the pandemic. But we can learn to live with all the uncertainty and make the best of it. Uncertainty is not always bad, and it can be a source of hope and possibility. So how can we cope with uncertainty and reduce our anxiety? I want to share some tips with you that particularly helped me over the last 3 to 4 years to really deal better with what was happening and the challenges that life brought, not only because of the pandemic, but also because of the changing economic situation, the changing times in terms of people spending money, hiring people like me, hiring people like you, people not spending money anymore, trying to reserve and really create emergency backups and being very cautious on what to spend money. And every one of us had to deal with circumstances like that. Retrenchment, companies that closed down from today to tomorrow. There was so much stuff going on. And I really just want to share a couple of points that have helped me overcome those times of uncertainty and challenge. So the number one thing that I want to share with you is it is so important that we identify and tune out, like I would like to call it, unproductive worrying. One of our common responses to uncertainty is unproductive worrying, and that does not work in our favor. Sometimes we worry about things that are unlikely to happen. It's called like catastrophizing, and we assume that the worst thing is going to happen to us, which just increases suffering. It extends suffering that is sometimes totally unrealistic because the situation that we are fearing is most probably never going to arise. And there's a huge difference between situational and psychological fear, where situational fear is a natural instinct that we need to survive, that puts us into alarm mode when we face dangerous situations. But the psychological fear, like being scared of that meeting that we're having next week with our boss, and no one has even told us what the meeting is about, but we're already suffering, we're already imagining the worst. Will we be retrenched? Will we be disciplined? Have we not performed? And during that entire time leading up to that meeting, we create this fear and this anxiety, and we deplete our body budget for no valid reason because we don't even know what is going to happen in this meeting, versus just having an open mindset about it and cultivating resilience and stress resistance and saying, well, what is the worst thing that can actually happen to me? What can really go wrong? Let me go there with an open attitude, not with a scarcity mindset, but with an abundance mindset. And hopefully the situation will turn out into an opportunity for me to grow and to learn or to better myself, to challenge the way that I look at things. So when we apply those things, then all of a sudden, all that psychological fear disappears and we free up so many resources that we can actually use for much more important things. We can certainly channel our energy to gain clarity and focus and actually deal with the things that we can control versus the things that we cannot control. Because there's nothing we can do about whatever the boss is going to tell us or what they have in store for us. The only thing that we can prepare for is our response to it and our willingness to see it as something that is happening for us and not happening to us, where we change our behavior from a victim to a victor's mindset and we become like ambassadors of a abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. So I think that is a really important part. Tune out unproductive worrying. So how do we stop this? We need to identify it and we need to tune it out. And a way to do this is to ask ourselves some questions like, is this worry realistic or based on evidence? Is this worry helpful? Is it solving any problems? Can I do something about this worry right now? And if the answer to these questions is no, then we need to let go of those worries and redirect our attention to something else. And we can, for instance, use mindfulness techniques such as breathing exercises or meditation to calm our mind and body. We can also distract ourselves with positive activities. We can go back to our hobbies, exercise, go back to socializing, connect to people that add value to our life and that can maybe help us with some different views or standpoints on the topics that we are dealing with. So that's very, very important. And at the end of the day, what matters is that we recognize when we fall into victim or into a behavior of a victim, and when we are acting that way, so that we can replace this with a habit that supports our health and well-being, rather than holding us back and increasing the stress that we already experience. So point 1, tip 1, identify and tune out unproductive worrying. The second point that I want to give to you is mindfulness. And we hear it all the time, and it kind of sometimes sounds like cliche, but is it really? I don't think so. It's absolutely not. When are we really mindful? Ask yourself how many times during your day you switch into autopilot, where you actually just responding to everything that is happening around you. How many times of the day, unless you're in a work that is very structured and you have to plan everything, but how many times during your day do you recognize that you actually are in autopilot and that you're really not present? How many times does someone tell you that you're not listening carefully? How many times has your partner told you that you're not listening, that they don't feel heard? How many times have you been for lunch or for any kind of activity with other human beings where you've been on your phone all the time or distracted by other things around you? So mindfulness really means paying attention to the present moment without judging or reacting to it. And that's an important thing because it also brings wisdom. If we judge, we deprive ourselves of the opportunity to grow. And when we react, we usually lack the insight, the foresight, and the wisdom to make informed decisions and statements. So when we act mindful, it teaches us to accept uncertainty and cope with anxiety in a better way by reducing our tendency to ruminate about the past or to worry about the future. And it helps us to appreciate what we have right now and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. And what is more important than enjoying the simple pleasures of life? When we are mindful, we see the little beautiful things that are happening around us. We really can immerse ourselves in whatever beautiful moment we are. And even if it is a situation that we don't like, something that stresses us out, something that we're anxious about, by being present, we can gain clarity, we can gain focus, and we can really experience. And sometimes it is necessary to also experience the fear and experience the panic and experience the anxiety. And when we attack those things with focus and clarity, we can sit down, we can write down, we can start identifying where are those emotions coming from? What are the triggers? What are the moments that are making us feel that way? Why is this happening? And then we can refocus, reprogram, we can redirect our energy and identify, is it real worry? Is it maybe psychological fear that is currently pestering us? And we can find solutions to replace thoughts and replace patterns and behaviors with better habits. That's why it's so important that we really practice mindfulness. There are many ways to get in touch with us and with ourselves and practice mindfulness. A couple of these points are focusing on our health, noticing how it feels in our body. How does it feel to be healthy? How does it feel to feel good? The breathing, knowing that nothing is hurting and that we are in a good state of mind or physical state. Observing our thoughts and feelings without trying to change them, because we can not change certain things. When we feel certain things, we should experience those. We should really understand where is it coming from, what is causing those feelings or emotions, and then deal with the underlying causes. If we pay attention to our senses and what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, there's so many beautiful things that can come from purely being present in those moments and experiencing what life actually is putting at the tip of our fingers. And doing one thing at a time and being fully engaged in it. When you are somewhere, show up. Not only physically, but be present. You might have got together with one of your friends that you haven't seen for ages. Why be on your phone? Why take pictures all the time? Rather be present in the moment. Focus on what do you have to share? What was it that you guys have been missing out on over the last couple of months or years? And really immerse yourself in that moment where you're sharing friendship, where you're actually sharing a beautiful moment. But also at work, having a meeting with a senior person that has maybe called you to their office. There's so many things to be learned from a situation like that. Maybe there's other staff that would have appreciated if they could have spent time with that senior person. It is an opportunity to grow. It is an opportunity to gain insight on how you're doing, where you stand, what are possibilities or opportunities in the future. There's so much to be gained from a situation like that, from a person that has maybe more wisdom, more experience than we have. So by being present, I can experience that versus just sitting there fearfully and dreading it because I don't know what is going to happen. And I'm so stressed and freaked out about the meeting that I don't even have a chance to be present and experience whatever it is that is being thrown at me. It might be an opportunity to grow and gain insight. The beautiful thing is that we can practice mindfulness anytime and anywhere. We can do our daily routines, when we brush our teeth, when we're eating breakfast, a stressful situation, like having an unpleasant meeting or a dreadful conversation, as we say just now. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we can train our brain to be more present and less anxious, and therefore better prepared to act from a place of clarity and focus. And that is something that I really want to highlight over and over again, clarity and focus. I do firmly believe that clarity and focus is one of the biggest gifts or skills that we can achieve during any situation of uncertainty or change. Clarity and focus can make a huge difference in everybody's life. So point number 2, practice mindfulness. Point number 3 that I want to share is developing habits and routines for a sense of control. In the face of uncertainty, it's easy to feel like we have no control over our lives and well-being, which can make us feel helpless and hopeless at the same time. Fortunately, there are many things that we can control, such as our actions or attitudes and our habits. By developing habits and routines that support our goals and values, we can create a sense of stability and order in our lives. Stability and order, very important, which in return lowers stress and anxiety levels. So what can we do here? We can have regular sleep schedule and getting enough rest so we don't deplete our body budget, what I used to call it, or what I call it. When our body budget is depleted, then we feel more stressed, more anxious. Body budget, I refer to it as almost like we are a battery, a cell, and stress, fear, anxiety, everything that we do that is unnecessary, every moment that we try to control the uncontrollable, we deplete more and more of our body budget. And if we wake up in the morning and our body budget is already depleted from yesterday, from all our worrying and psychological fear that we have created, then obviously we only have a certain amount of resources available to deal with a particular day. And that might make our day so much more unpleasant and so much more of a struggle and a pain, and actually something that we really have to try to get through, which is unnecessary. It's very important to eat healthy, stay hydrated, drink enough water, exercise regularly, and stay active. Set priorities and manage time. Managing time and setting priorities, understanding what is going to happen during the day. What do I have to first do? What is important? What do I have to get off my list so that I maybe can enjoy the rest of the day a bit better? And also managing our time, that we don't get into those autopilot moments and that we really allocate the time for responsibility in a meaningful, powerful way, which will in return clear up more of our free time and time that we can use for things that are really, really pleasant, that we enjoy. So when we allocate those times better, we will feel better at the end of the day, and we will regain a sense of control over what is actually happening around us. And keeping a journal or a gratitude list. Write down what you are grateful for, all the small little things that we have, those small interactions with the people that we love, the breakfast routine with the wife or the partner or the boyfriend, those small little things that keep us going all the time. When we write them down, we make ourselves more aware of the fact that they are present and that not everything in life might be uncertain or uncontrollable. Learn new skills, hobbies, start a new language, take up a new hobby. I mean, if you guys know me and you look at my history, you know that I've been doing one thing and then all of a sudden people are surprised. Now he's in the circus and now he's playing cricket. And all those things keep me going. They energize me. They show me that there's so much more to life than just uncertainty and change and not knowing what is going to happen tomorrow. When we do these things, they bring a new energy to our lives, and we can then channel those positive energies and use them almost as a shield against everything else that is happening that we might not be able to control, and the curveballs that life is throwing towards us. Reaching out to friends and family for support. Ask for help. If you don't know, if you overwhelmed and you don't know how to handle situations, there's always a friend, there's always family that can maybe give some advice, that can help. There is ways to expand our social network to create a better infrastructure to deal with situations where we are overwhelmed or where we feel that we cannot really find the solution anymore. So work on that. Reach out to friends for family and support. And more importantly, if you don't have the support structure, try to create it. Try to find book clubs, find a sports club, an activity club, whatever it is, build network. Because I tell you from personal experience, in these times of uncertainty and change, there's nothing more important than a solid and trustworthy social support network. When we implement such routines and habits, they help us to be confident and capable of dealing with whatever comes our way. And that can also provide us with a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. And that is so important, purpose and meaning. That's something that we all crave and that we all look for. That's maybe even one of the essences of life, purpose and meaning. It's one of the most important things. So that is very important. And therefore, tip number 3, developing habits and routines for a sense of control. Tip number 4 that I would like to share with you, and that will be our last tip in closing, is to cultivate gratitude. We had it as a small little insert in the last point, but gratitude is so important and so underestimated. Gratitude is a feeling of appreciation for what we have in our lives, and it helps us cope with uncertainty, and it shifts our perspective from what we lack or fear to what we have or hope for. And it also helps us to recognize the positive aspects of our situation and the opportunities that may arise from it. It's so important because what we have versus what we cannot have, it's again, what can we control, what can we not control? There's so much to be learned from it. There's so much to rechannel our energy and really saying, yes, I might not have much, but I do have a roof over my head. I do have still money coming into my account. I do have friends. There is something that I can still do with my life. A big part that I have that other people don't have, and other people might be much less fortunate than you are. I mean, if we look around us, poverty and corruption and everything that is happening to the country, then we can already see where we are still in a much more fortunate situation than many people around us. So gratitude is something really, really, really important. So what can we do to actually cultivate gratitude? There's different strategies that we can use, like writing down things that we are grateful for every day, expressing our gratitude to others who have helped us or made us happy. Talk to your friends, the ones that have helped you, the ones that have been there for you. Express your gratitude. Express your gratitude towards your parents, your support network that has supported you through tough times or helped you in situations where you maybe didn't know what to do anymore. By expressing that gratitude, it also re-anchors that thought in our head and reminds us of the fact that we do have things around us that help and that support and that we have that nurturing around us that keeps us going and makes us want to really just push through the hard times, because we know we're going to come out on the other side so much stronger and so much more energized and ready for what is to come. Practicing positive affirmations or statements that boost our self-esteem. Self-esteem is so important. And when we practice those affirmations, we can boost our self-esteem, because we can start to learn to appreciate and express how we feel about ourselves. When we accept ourselves and we recognize that there's no need to be ashamed, there's no need to be feeling weak, because we have overcome challenges. We have made it through the other side so many times. And there is no reason to be ashamed of, because whatever I've been ashamed of, if I changed it, it is one thing that I can pass down to another human being, because I have went through it. I had that shame. I experienced the shame, but I changed it around. So every single time that we actually feel shame, we hold a skill. We hold that skill to actually pass on information to someone else. How did we make it through that feeling? How did we learn to cope with it? What did we do to change our situation? So there's something that is always to be given away. And most importantly, celebrate achievements and successes. It is important that you tell yourself when you're doing something great. There's nothing more important than the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you encourage yourself, the way that you make yourself believe that you have achievements, that you are succeeding, that you are doing something that makes you happy and feel a sense of purpose and belonging. It's so important that we share those successes and achievements. And there's one thing that I really, really want to give you, and that is, if you are not able to bet on yourself, then there is a problem. You need to start betting on yourself. Because when you start betting on yourself and believing it, there is nothing really that can stop you. You need to be able to bet on yourself and understand, I can do this. I have done this before. I have made it through that tunnel before and I reached the light. Bet on yourself. That is so important. Looking for the silver lining in every challenge or difficulty, because at the end of the day, whatever challenge or difficulty it is, there's always something to be learned from it. And when we look at it with an attitude of there's something happening for us versus there's something happening to us, when we exit that victim mentality and we understand, yes, this is not pleasant, this is not nice, but there is something in there for me. There's something at the end of that tunnel that I need to learn, something that I need to see, something that has been put into my way to reach the next level. Imagine you attack every challenge in life with that attitude. I promise you, everything in your life will change. So many things will change. So many things will be less frightening and less scary. And when we change and we really practice that abundance mindset, then the power that we have, because we're giving the power back to ourselves, the power that we then have to attack all the other things that are happening in life. It's incredible. And again, I want to highlight clarity and focus is something that comes from all the things that we have discussed. That is what you're going to achieve. You achieve clarity, focus, you foster resilience, and you build a shield around you that can be captivating, and that can include your social network. It can bring people within that understand and see how you're operating and that you are a force to be reckoned with. You can hand that over to your family, to your kids, to everyone that is around you, and you can create this force field, this interactional force field that cannot be stopped. And trust me, when we create this kind of symbiosis with our internal forces, with the things that we can control, and we use that with clarity and focus, there's nothing that we cannot face. And even if there is something that really brings us to our knees, if we keep that attitude, we will stand up again and we will take the next step forward. Gratitude improves our mood, our health, our relationships, and overall well-being. And it motivates us to better pursue our goals and to stay on par with what we're actually trying to do. By being grateful, we learn to enjoy the present moment and embrace the future with optimism and enthusiasm. And that is so powerful. So that is what I want to share with you today on my first podcast episode. The 4 tips: identify and tune out unproductive worrying, practice mindfulness, develop habits and routines for a sense of control, and cultivate gratitude. I'm so excited that we've done this together, and I'm happy that you taking the time to listen to my podcast. I'm really, really excited to see what is going to come next and what is going to happen from here. I really appreciate if you can go and review my podcast. If you have anything to add or you have any suggestions to make, then please drop me a message. I'm very happy to hear from you guys, no matter what it is. If you want to connect or you want to hear about my programs and about my coaching and the things that I offer for people and for businesses, the programs that I have and the tools that I share on a business basis and on a personal development basis, then just drop me a message and I can get in touch with you and we can discuss that. And please don't forget to look out for my next episode, which is, as I said, going to be on the 5th. It's the next Friday, where I have Joanne Rutter-Halbrook, and she is the author of the Passport for Parenting. And that will be and please don't forget to tune in next week Friday for our episode with Joanne Rutter-Halbrook, which is the author of Passport to Parenting. And we will talk about a lot of different things that can add value to your life, that are definitely relevant to either business or to personal life. And I cannot wait to share that episode with you. So please, guys, I see you hopefully next week, Friday. Until then, I wish you a remaining great weekend. Stay powerful, stay strong. Do the things that we've discussed in this episode. You got the power in you. You got that force. Focus on clarity. Increase your focus and look at what is coming next. And you will be prepared for anything that life has to throw towards you. That was me. That's Daniel. That is the Success Blueprint, where we create the life and business you love. Thank you very much.